All right, so this is the presentation on feedback loops. So make sure you have your laboratory journal ready. So you're going to start a new section in your journal titled 2.1.3 Feedback. So this is all about how your body works to maintain homeostasis. And we're going to define that term. And then after this presentation's over, I'll explain a little bit about how you're going to relate this to what we've already been doing with glucose and insulin. So homeostasis simply means that your body is trying to maintain an internal equilibrium or balance. So you're trying to maintain your body's temperature and you're trying to maintain all the chemical processes within it. So here are two examples. So temperature regulation, if you're hot, you sweat. If you're cold, you shiver. Allergic responses to things is another way for your body to keep itself in balance by trying to remove those allergens when they are in your system by sneezing. We are going to focus on what are the mechanisms of balance that help maintain this state. So there are going to be two different types of feedback mechanisms that we use in the body. So these are just meant to keep your body operating as they should be in a natural balanced state. They are controlled by the endocrine system, and all of this is done via hormones. There are two types of feedback systems in the body, and those are positive feedback systems and negative feedback systems. For us, the most common one is going to be negative. That's one we'll be looking at today with glucose and insulin. But positive, there is one major example of that, and that's one we're going to go through first since it's the least prevalent. So there you go, least common in the body. This is an amplification system. Now, if feedback loops are new to you, which they probably are, all of this means is that increasing one action in the body is going to cause an increase in another. And because this is driven by the endocrine system, when we say increase in one action, it's usually an increase in a hormone that's going to cause something to happen and a behavior in the body to increase. If it would be a hormone that is then being decreased, it's causing a decrease in something else in the body. So let me give you an example of this from the kitty world. Click on this one first. So an example of positive feedback is one action is the cat's being pet. And the more you pet him, the more he purrs. So the increase in the petting increases the purring. So this is a positive feedback loop. One goes up, as does the other. And so you really get into it there, you know? Increased petting, increased purring. So there's one example of a feedback loop. The other one, also a cat example, is going to be, if you've never seen Thug Life Cat. And we don't have the positive feedback system yet. Many of you have seen this video, know what's going to happen. So there's the increased response. She keeps saying no. She keeps saying no. And it causes him to just amplify his response. And, yep, Bug Life Cat. So that's positive. Because the more she said no, it didn't matter. It still caused an increase in his behavior, which was already being exhibited, which was him knocking things over. So her saying no just amplified him to just do exactly what she didn't want, which was for him to knock it over. So increase in one just increases the other. I don't have any decrease in one causes a decrease of another. That's not an example that I have, because the one in the body that I have is labor. One of the few examples of positive feedback is what happens. Your endocrine system is going to release a hormone called oxytocin, and that's going to cause the uterine to contract. That's going to put the contraction pressures on the cervix so that the baby can eventually be born. So the release of the hormone is going to cause more contractions to indicate to the cervix that it's time for this baby to go, and the cervix will dilate in response to the hormone. So that's an amplification system. Increase of one, increase of the other. The one we are going to focus on, sorry, my cat is playing with her toy. There we go. Are negative feedback loops. So in negative feedback loops, there we go. We have one variable going up and the other one's going down, or one's going down and the other's going up. So they're opposites. This is most often how the body works. For us, the ones that we're going to be spending most of our time talking about for this course, blood pressure regulation, glucose and insulin, which is your focus for today, and then body temperature, which is one I kind of already just briefly talked about. An example of this in the cat world is going to be this kitty right here. So right now, his behavior is opening up the freezer door, and he's continuing to do that behavior until he gets caught. So now he's going to do the opposite of that behavior, which is to close the drawer. So first he was opening it, gets caught, closes it. So that is, close that. One thing going one way, and then something causes it, triggers it to go the other. That was my best example for that. So what you're going to be doing now is completing all of activity 2.1.3 and going through feedback mechanisms in the body. So in terms of glucose and insulin, you're trying to figure out how, when your blood glucose level is high, how does your body bring it back down to appropriate levels? If your blood glucose level is low, so blood sugar levels are low, how does your body, or what does your body do to increase those levels so you're at homeostasis? Good luck.